Thank you so much, you all, for coming out. So, our first, I would love to introduce our guest. This is Aida Noor. She is a visionary biomedical scientist and the founder and CEO of Biomedical Science and Beyond. It's just been such a pleasure just crossing paths with Ida. She really is very passionate about her mission. She explores all these different avenues in biomedical science. First, we just would like for you to give a brief introduction of yourself, and include your educational background as well.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I've been following you guys and your work. You have actually inspired me to found my educational organization, Biomedical Science and Beyond. So thank you so much for having me. And it's a pleasure and it's an honor. And we've had great conversations, which I'm really excited for that to appear to the public. Yes, I consider myself a scientist with a vision. My experience is in the UK, biomedical scientist. Specifically, I specialize in infection sciences, microbiology, the most complicated discipline, but some people might be offended by that. But I'm going to be honest about that. My main aim is to make a difference through my profession. My educational credentials, but I have a bachelor's in biochemistry and master's in biomedical sciences, medical microbiology, postgraduate education in healthcare management. That was the reason I chose that, because I wanted to explore my role in healthcare, which has expanded to explore my role not just in healthcare, now in society or outside the laboratory. And my passion is through the future of education, careers, and future of work. That's where my passion lies. I'm a firm believer in the power of lifelong learning, which we tend to forget through self-discovery and creating a fulfilling career that matches your lifestyle in addition to your personality, hopefully. So as a professional, I always believe there's always room for developing, reskilling and upskilling, which is a heated topic at the moment. So that's where I try to raise awareness through my profession.
Thank you so much for sharing all that, especially that last piece about the upscaling and, ooh, that's a topic in itself. So what motivated you to
Indeed.
pursue a career in biomedical science?
I didn't want to be a doctor for personal reasons. I just wanted to, I was always fascinated about science. I always loved science. It was just a natural passion. And I didn't want to become a nurse. I just wanted something different. I wanted to be my own boss somehow. And I thought science will lead to that. Little that I knew how challenging it is to develop yourself in science. But I always had passion to make a difference, which is now it's from a broader prospect through profession and passion. So just pure love for science, that's all.
I'm so glad that you mentioned about the first initial career path you were considering was medical doctor, because I can so relate to that, because me too. And just getting exposed to biomedical sciences through my going to a historically Black college and university, that really shaped my whole trajectory with getting into biomedical research. I was a part of this training fellowship known as the Mark U Star program. And so just getting that exposure to being in a lab, knowing how to do experiments, how to write an abstract, like those were all new things that I felt like, I had initial exposure to. So I'm glad you mentioned how career ideas can always change and shift along the way. Yes, because like I really originally wanted to be a teacher, and I moved from thinking I wanted to be a teacher to a doctor, but I was like, okay, I have teachers that call themselves Dr. So and so. I know they're not physicians. Like it was kind of wrecking my brain. And once I figured out, oh, okay, people can have a doctorate degree and be a professor, I was like, well, that way I should be able to, talk the way I want to and not like on a K through 12 level. So I was like, okay, I want to be a professor. And then I learned everything that came with being a professor. It's like every time you learn one thing,
And then you're like, okay, some pros and cons of everything. So I was like, okay, one doctorate degree, I'm definitely not finna do physician scientist or anything like that. So that's how it led me to figuring out my direction. So I also have that in common.
Glad that you mentioned about there are loads of options out there, and it's just you being curious and finding out. Like I remember there was an advert, those little things. I was at school, and it said a job leads to a job, and I change it to an opportunity leads to an opportunity. However, you just have to keep your eyes open. That's it.
You are so right about that. Always keep your eyes open because you never know what opportunity may come. So our next question for you is that what are some tips that you would give for current students who are seeking to pursue a career in biomedical science?
I have three advice. Proactivity is key. Understanding how competitive the job market is, and always think of a direct approach, which means that don't just apply for a job and hope for the best. No, you need to approach the hiring managers directly or a company directly. These are the three tips that I would give any aspiring biomedical scientist. But in terms of to elaborate on the extra points, I would say it's very important to seek experience. Practical experience is crucial in all of its forms, whether volunteering, which we all had to do it. I know it's tough, but it's a very important way to put your foot in. Seeking internships if possible, shadowing as well. That's why the direct approach is very important in order for you to will take you to the next step of trying to get that experience or that opportunity. So that is very important to get hands-on experience. So that's the first one. The second one, which is ignored but it's very important, networking in all of its forms, being engaging and being let's say don't be a passive user of all these platforms. We are all online, so you need to be proactive. Make use of attending seminars, building connections, attending talks, even physical networking. Yes, you have to put in the effort. So that's the networking is very important and building connections, including LinkedIn, which is a very important platform. Stay curious, keep learning. That's why we mentioned keep your eyes open. And finally, that will lead you to be open to many roles, some roles you didn't even know they existed. I didn't know that biomedical science degree will lead you to other paths, like jobs that can be related directly to your degree, and jobs that can qualify you to you can be qualified to those jobs. So biomedical science, even when I was preparing content and sharing the knowledge, I didn't know all these jobs that they existed. I even thought if I only knew. But now the opportunities are there, but you have to put in the effort and show the initiative to approach those opportunities. So these tips, yes, it's tough. The job market is not just tough, it's very tough. So you have to be creative in your approach. You can't just keep applying. I hate applying for jobs. I just hate it. And I openly say it. If I see a job that, okay, you've submitted a CV, you've submitted a covering letter, which is very important. You have to tailor them. When I see an application that, again, another application, I terminate the process. I'm sorry, I just can't stand that. That's why I really believe the direct approach by finding the right person or the decision maker or the hiring manager, just send them an email, show the initiative. There's so many ways that you can create that now. Now we've got AI that can help us a lot in terms of productivity. That way, I really think that will put you ahead of the game. So don't just rely on just gaining the knowledge. Unfortunately, this is a saying that we've heard for years. It's not by what you know, it's by who you know. And that applies at every level, including my level.
Hey, look, you are onto something when you said all of that because you need to find a research mentor that can help guide you with working in their lab. So I had to really utilize being able to
Mm.
market my tools and show how valuable I could be an asset to the lab because I
Mm.
never had any lab experience. So being able to even if you don't have experience and this is your first time, like you really
Yeah.
have to sell it and make sure it's believable. You know, you have to really be passionate. People can feel if you're
Mm.
genuine or not
Yes.
about really want to pursue a career in research. So that's my 2 cents.
But I do want to add that during that time in LinkedIn, because of course LinkedIn have came so far, but during that time I took some time out to pretty much, I guess you can say, ask people questions about like how to get into research, how did they get in, and this is everybody from PhDs and PsyDs that I reached out to on LinkedIn. I remember I want to say I sent out at least 75. I was really trying to get in research. And I had a lot of, no answers. Some people answer and be like, hey, I'm, glad that you're interested in research, but I don't do research, or I can ask my friend. And
Mm.
long story short, it led me to interviews with research due to people, friends, and their connections in psychology. Although
Mm.
at that time I didn't break into research, it definitely
Mm.
gave me an idea of what these psychologists done to get into research when during that time, as well as just things that they did that was like clinical experience, such as working in an academic medical facility. So it was just things that I didn't know at the time, that just even putting myself out there gave me the
Mm.
ability and the access to hear what these people done to get where they were at the time.
Absolutely. It is selling yourself. It is showing it is purely try before you buy. And this is one of the lessons that I have learned when I was trying to qualify as a biomedical scientist. I even written all my frustrations on social media, mainly Instagram, because I like visuals. Not I wasn't into Twitter much. And then few entrepreneurs saw my writing and they said, "Why don't you publish your books?" And at that time I was journaling, and then I published my first book, Aida Noor Thoughts. I think I write, I speak. And I really wanted people to see the personal side or what they don't tell you at university and as a scientist, because I was thinking, how can a scientist, all the scientists are just purely publishing books about science. Why not talk about the personal journey of becoming a biomedical scientist? I'm not going to lie, the editing was a bit of a disaster, but I just wanted to show people, look, I had to learn how to edit. I had to learn how to design the book. I had to learn, thankfully, Amazon helps us a lot. So I sent it out there and I thought, yes, these are the things they don't tell us about. When you graduate, you need to learn how to negotiate, you need to learn how to sell yourself, you need to, with some stories about the journeys that have been, because people need to know this. People just say, oh, you get a degree, you do this, and that's it, you're done. No, there's a whole journey, the process itself, the growth itself, the lessons that you learn. So that's very important. So that's the conclusion. Yes. And now it's even worse because people are becoming very selective. And LinkedIn, I didn't know LinkedIn has been there for 20 years. I didn't use LinkedIn until I qualified because I didn't think I was good enough. And when I explored the world, I was thinking, oh my God, I didn't know even those titles existed. You feel like, especially coming from the scientific background or the healthcare, which is very fixed, you think, oh my God, I don't know anything. What is this? And what's worse, that for me, I went to physical networking as well. I traveled and I went and I didn't even know the American setting and how it is. And because once you're in one country, it's completely different. So that's why it's good to travel and explore. And I went to the Middle East, so that's even completely different. So you've got a group of people who like the American setting and a group of people who don't like the UK setting. So and vice versa. So it's quite interesting to see all of that. So yeah, I really it's worth networking. It's number one skill by the looks of it. That's my conclusion. You have to network because now they can choose anybody, anyone. They can just go through it and just select. So how can you stand out? That's how you need to think. It is fight for the fittest, unfortunately.
So how did you become a self-employed scientist, speaker, and author? Like I know that, we kind of touched on your book a bit, we kind of touched on some of the skills that, develop you as a scientist, as well as just, I spoke on, mentorship of just reaching out to people, but just putting all that together with your experience, like self-employed, speaker, author, like, how did you get
I
here?
never thought of all of those titles, to be honest. It's just just being a scientist. And I wanted to consider myself as a scientist to the vision. Someone on LinkedIn just called me visionary scientist. So I used it as a heading. I would say, simply putting it, I didn't have a career mentor. So the frustrations of that, putting it into writing and expressing it while I'm creating content. So that journey, the whole journey, and COVID mainly, which led to the second book of creating your career. So COVID opened up my eyes. It made me reflect on not just on my professional life, on my life in general. And it made me think, what can I do? Where do I go from here? And 6 months after qualifying, I felt like I've reached the threshold in this level. I felt I needed more flexibility and freedom. So that's what I was looking for. And when I resigned from my full-time job, I was happily comfortable. I was very happy in the company that I was working in, everything. But I really wanted to explore the world outside the laboratory. What would be my role, not just in the lab, not just in healthcare, in society? What can I do? How can I was always passionate about mentoring students, helping them out in biomedical sciences, in their biomedical sciences careers. And I used to go back to universities where I studied, if there was an opportunity to mentor. So for that period of time, it made me realize I can do more. How can I do more? So I've done a bit of traveling. I've had few career breaks to explore the world out there. So uh, opportunities started coming. So I started exploring LinkedIn for the first year. And then the second year, I published my LinkedIn newsletter, Scientist to the Vision, and I started just sharing my experiences, my thoughts on different aspects. And I was learning a lot. I was learning the corporate world, what's out there. I didn't know I was part of the Great Resignation. I didn't know that I was part of the gig economy, the careers economy, all of these things. So people started approaching me. I've been getting invitations to attend. Whenever I was traveling, I used to say, "I'm here. I'm at this event," and then people start messaging me either. However, I was very, very selective. I was selecting the events that I was going to. I know when you open up to the world, it's you really need to be selective there. Fortunately, that was part of my personality. I'm very selective about my time, my energy, everything. But I was very selective. So I was really selecting what events I've been to. But then you have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. You really need to think who you are. So before embark anything, learn about yourself. So for me, I had to go through the professional development led to personal development. That's where the first book was based on. So the speaking engagements came after that. So I was just being myself, because when I first approached LinkedIn, I was like, yeah, I'm a scientist. Hey, be whole for the first year. But then the second year, I said, I'm going to be myself. I don't care what people think. This is me. These are my ideas. These are my opinions. Uh, Obviously, I was building connections, so I knew certain people at certain positions. So I went and introduced myself. And this particular person, again, you can't help how people interpret who you are or what your intentions are. So bear that in mind. You need to, not everybody will see your vision. And I said, yeah, I've just left my job and now I'm exploring. And I remember someone came and said, oh, hi, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. And this lady, she said, oh, yeah, that's Ida. She's looking for a job. She's jobless. That was a tough comment that was said. However, this person is following me now and they see where I am. But be prepared. You will hear certain comments that can be hurtful, but you need to be strong and have that vision like who you are. So all of these things, they came afterwards. So again, back to the first point that we mentioned, an opportunity leads to an opportunity, and also a connection leads to a connection. However, I was really looking for mentors, random mentors. So if a person, I thought they were there, I was asking advice from every single person I've met. So for during my career breaks, I was going to different networks, connecting with so many people. And one advice from each of them, I've created like a, let's say, sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone and just explore, 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 explore. So 2 years and a half now I'm speaking on my platforms. So that's how all this package came. Um, by exploring, just by simply exploring and expressing your thoughts. Don't be afraid to show your skin. The personal branding, all of these are very, very important. So I truly believe that's how opportunities come. It's hard work. It's not easy. You have to dedicate time, money, uh, all of that really matters. So that's how the self-employment came. Either way, there's loads of opportunities. So I must admit, I've been very, very fortunate to have that experience in the UK. So there is flexibility. If you stay in the same hospital, great, and then you can take time off here and there, and it offers a lot of flexibility in terms of it ticks the boxes for me. I've known people who've been doing this for years and they've enjoyed it, whether for family reasons or other, some people like to travel. But yeah, I'm very lucky in that way. That's how the self-employed biomedical scientist does help in the UK. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Yeah, the piece about, people questioning your decisions and all of those aspects, I definitely can relate to as well. Um, I would say for at least for me, one to step out and start branding myself and having my own opinions and being able to help others in the way that I felt like that's what really inspired both of us to get together and come up with and release our business idea with Scholarly Scouts. And so I think we launched it November of last year. So throughout this journey, we've just learned so much and been able to network with so many people. And like you said, being selective about where you show up.
It's very hard to let go of the expectations that you think other people may have had for you
Mm.
versus who you are as a person and what you need. And, it's like in order to live your life happily and, to be successful in your own vision, as you say, visionary, you should definitely, be yourself and put yourself out there and give yourself a chance and be kind to yourself. So I really admire your authenticity and just the courage that it takes to continue to keep going and writing your personal thoughts and writing your books about yourself personally and just having that intersectionality piece and going into these spaces and to say, you know what, I'm here, I exist, I'm taking up space, and I'm brilliant and I'm bright, and I have something that everyone would love to hear. So I appreciate you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Which I'm hoping that will encourage a lot of people to think like that, because that's how, when we're authentic, we learn from each other and inspire each other. So, and then we grow together.
Right. And I think the power of LinkedIn and networking is what allow us to come together. And I was also very inspired by how you went about, marketing your skills, honing in on your specific niche and how your platform has built. And I really continue to be inspired by all the work that you're doing and definitely absolutely learning as well about different careers and paths that I didn't even know about with being in the academic sector right now with completing my PhD. So I think connecting with others inside and outside of your field across multiple disciplines, you just don't know who knows who, and all of these things, they always end up, what do you say, works in a full
It works
circle.
in a full circle. I really like
Absolutely.
also how just, you brought the academic setting as in learning piece. Like anybody that has went to grad school and you have to be a learner. You love to learn. That's just what it is. So to
Yeah.
take that and to put it in a community sector and to pretty much not have to go to school and learn and see within 30 seconds. Wow, I learned so much information. Now I know the source that I can look it up at to have a credible source and to inform myself and to have better health and a better overall outcome. So I do appreciate how you took all those sectors of academia, industry, and merging it together to a community space where people can feel safe to come ask questions.
Thank you. Likewise, I'm inspired by all your work. Well done on you guys, because you've done fantastic work to manage to do all that, as well as managing your own life, which must be very, very challenging, particularly in our field. It's hard. I can imagine.
It is. It's very hard, but we still push through, and we intend to make a positive impact on this world. Wanted to inform people about our LinkedIn networking group. We post different opportunities there, so ranging from research, internships, fellowships, any job postings we may come across in various companies. So please welcome yourself to the Scholarly Scouts community, and we'll be happy to have each and every one of you.
As well as just knowing that we share on YouTube, and every now and then we have a little time where we open it up to people that are here. But even if you don't catch us and you watch the video, we really would love for people to leave comments. We always love to see comments on the YouTube video so we can get back to people and email them and reach out to them.